Hey everyone, welcome back to a very special interview episode of Unfiltered and Functional. I'm your host, Mandy, and today's guest is Dr. Charlotte Huang, a performance based physical therapist, a woman owned business owner, a passionate advocate for lifelong learning. She's born in Taiwan before she moved here as a teenager, and Charlotte has since built a career helping people move and live better while redefining what success and health mean in her own life and on her own terms. Her journey is one of inspiration, resilience, taking risks, and creating a life that's aligned with her values. I'm really excited for you guys to hear her story. Charlotte, welcome to the podcast. And I'd love to start at the very beginning. You were born in Taiwan and moved to the US when you were 16. What was that transition like for you?
Oh my God, I feel like your intro is perfect. I was like, I don't even need to introduce myself. She said everything. I was like, how did you know all the facts about me? Um,
Research.
I know, literally. So yeah, well, like Mandy, well, thank you for having me, obviously. Very happy to be here and excited to talk about everything, business, life, pain, fitness, whatever. So yeah, like Mandy said, I moved here when I was 16 from Taiwan. I moved to Long Island, New York, and I moved here with my dad. All my family's back home, so my dad quit his job, came here with me. My mom was back home, my brother, grandparents. So I think my first reaction, I think as a kid, I always knew like, oh, one day I'm gonna move my life to the States. Not because I was willing to do that, but my dad wanted that for me. So he made sure like he did everything, put me to English school, extra hours in Taiwan, XYZ. So I think that initial shock when I first moved here, obviously language barrier is a big thing. I remember like I was in a public school in Long Island, but from growing up in Taiwan, all I knew about America was watching Disney Channel. So like literally Disney Channel, like Hannah Montana. What's that thing? Like What's So Raven? Or is that it?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so
the one you can
Raven.
see. Yeah, that's a Raven. The thing you can see the future, whatever. So that's all I know about America. Just like or fast food. Fast food.
Yeah.
Like that's the biggest thing. Fast food, American high school looks just like the show. And obviously, when I first moved here, it was just like that. The biggest thing, again, it's the language, and I guess like the hours we spent in school, it's so different back home versus America. Because back home, it's more just like you're in school almost 24/7. Like after school,
Oh,
after school,
wow.
you have after school program. So, you're really not done with your day 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. as a student. But here, when I first moved here, it's like, oh, like the bell ring at 2:56. Like you're free to go. Like no homework, nothing. So that was kind of like a big culture shock too. And I guess also the way people dress. I was very used to having uniforms, so I never have to worry about what I am wearing to school. But I guess moving here, that's also another thing. Like, I just remember, I remember bringing my Taiwanese uniform to America. This is
Oh.
I know this is so embarrassing. Like, just thinking back about it, I'm like, wow, like I did so many things that, why would I do that? But nobody told me any better. You just trying to navigate this new world by yourself because my dad doesn't really speak English. Yeah, that's kind of like a big shock.
Wow. I didn't realize he didn't speak English either.
No.
But you took some lessons before you came
Yeah.
here.
So I always tell people it's kind of like, in school, you learn Spanish here, but you don't really speak it with your friends. It's the same thing
Mhm.
back home in Taiwan. You learn English in school, but you don't really speak it. It's just for exams. You just learn it in school. When you're with your friends, it's still your language. When you're with your parents, it's still Mandarin, Taiwanese, both. Yeah. So it's a big culture shock.
So you guys like literally just dove right in
Yeah, nobody.
and
Yeah. No,
life
no.
experience was just your teacher.
Yeah, I think watching Disney helped a lot, honestly. But besides that, everything is just like, you just navigate it through trial and error. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that also helped you. I mean, maybe not at the time, but helped you build confidence and like how you navigate life later.
Yes, I think not definitely not at the time, but I would say
Mhm.
looking back at it, that's a huge transition in life. And I'm glad I came at that time period because I have enough, friends and culture from back home, but also I think high school is a tough chapter to move your life to a whole different country when you don't really speak the language at that time. But I'm glad I moved here through high school and not college because obviously I think having an American high school, it's kind of like back in the days, it's like, oh, it's your American dream, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't
Yeah.
regret a thing. Yeah.
That's awesome. You weren't here that long with your dad before he moved back. So, how did you feel being on your own then? Because it's almost like you get a little bit of an adjustment
Yeah, for sure.
and then you were on your own.
Yeah, for sure. So my dad was here with me for 3 years. I moved here when I was sophomore year. Actually, 3 years?
Mhm.
Yeah, sophomore year, junior, and senior. He was with me through 3 years of high school. Then college, I went to Baruch. It's a business school. Funny, it's a business school in the city. So since college, he moved back home. So I was basically just all alone in this country. I think. I don't know. Now thinking back about it, it was tough at that time because you really don't have any family members around you. But I do enjoy, I think that's the most grown I had during college time because you were really by yourself now in the whole new country. Have a couple of friends from high school already, but still there's a lot of things you have to navigate, like, taking the subway in the city, like even just like doing my own laundry, cooking, groceries, all that stuff, because in high school my dad is still the one doing those. Now all of a sudden you have to navigate like, studying, getting a part-time job with just living life. That's a lot, but it definitely helped with help to lay the roadmap of where I am today, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. No, it's so crazy to think about. I mean, in college, we're all essentially trying to figure out who we are and what the heck we're
Yeah.
doing. So I can't even imagine having that extra layer. I know a lot of people go away to college and don't have family close, but like, I mean, all of your family being overseas, did that kind of like, how did that distance change the way that you valued time?
Hmm. I would say, so when I first moved here, I would say obviously every year I try to go back since high school. Sometimes I go back 3 times an year in high school because you miss your family, you miss your friends. But as time goes on, you starting to have your new life, then you go back maybe twice, then once. And obviously PT school, there's times that I don't really go back and see family. I think at that time, I would say during high school, college, I don't really have a like appreciation of time, I would say. And I now gain a lot of appreciation of time since PT school. But I would say actually since my dad got sick. I don't know if you know that part. I would say the appreciation of time and understanding like spending, time is precious. It's not truly until I was in PT school when my dad got sick, then that kind of changed perspective and changed everything. Yeah. Because when you're in college, you want to hang out with your friends. Family is not your main priority because it's just, oh, I'll call them later. Oh, I'll see them later. I'll see them next month, whatever. But now it's like every single opportunity if I have, it's like, you want to call them, you want to go back home, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, totally. No, thank you for sharing it.
Yeah.
It speaks to me too because
Oh,
my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer when I was in college. So it was like very similar.
mhm.
Like you want to hang out with your friends and you're studying and you're trying to like get
Yeah.
everything right. And then it's like constantly in that background, just looming like, oh my God,
Yeah.
one of my favorite people is like really going through something.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up though, because I do want to fast forward a little bit to PT school.
Mhm.
And it seems like after you graduated, you worked a little bit in what people would consider like a standard healthcare job.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. How? How did your dad's illness like really impact the view that you had working in a traditional healthcare role versus like how you were able to dictate your own time as a business owner? I
Mm,
think I saw something where you were mentioning how your PTO was so limited, and we all know PTO here is
yeah, I
such
know, I
bullshit.
know. Yeah. So I'll go back a little bit. So after PT school, this is a little long, so sorry.
Oh, please.
Yeah. So after PT school, obviously, if someone gone through traditional insurance-based clinic, you know how it is. Sometimes you're seeing, as a provider, you're always seeing multiple patients, 3 to 4 patients in an hour. And I knew I don't want that. So during PT school, after PT school, I try to interview as many places as I can just to kind of see what's out there. I landed with my first full-time job. It was, I was seeing 2 to 3 patients in the same hour. And I remember just going up to my manager, I told her, it's like, I don't want to double book patient, I don't want to see like 20, like 2 patients in the same 30 minutes, whatever. And her response was like, it's okay, but you might just get to like write, like someone's gonna write a report on you, XYZ, if your numbers are not performing well. So that then leads me to switch to a different job. But the first job actually has great benefits, great PTO, great, like just everything. It's great, but just the system is not great. So then I switched to my second job, which is like a one-on-one, more one-on-one based. It's still insurance, one-on-one based for every 40 minutes. At that time, I think it was sometimes it's enough, but not enough for new patients because I can really understand them or get their history down. And I actually took a huge pay cut from the first job to the second job, like a 10K pay cut. Just because, yeah, I know, because I want to be in that one-on-one environment because to help me learn and grow. Um, so the second job, I think the environment was a little better than the first one, but still not the best. Because if sometimes patients are late, then you only have like 20 minutes left with them. You can't really do much, right? Or if they have two different body parts, it's hard to work in 20 minutes with two different body parts, and you can't even work with two different body parts. So there's just a lot of things. It's just like, this is not the ideal situation. But it truly is because obviously that's not the way I want to practice, but also with me thinking about life overall, how I want to spend time with my now family back home, but also maybe eventually I want a family. Yes, my PTO was only 10 days on my second job. And I remember there was one time I think I asked my manager, "Oh, can I go back home to see my grandparents because they're not doing well?" And I just remember like he screenshotted the manual, like the handbook of the company policy, the pay time like policy. It was like, oh, grandparents does not consider as like direct family, so you can't really use like the sick day or the PTO, like, whatever either or the rules are. So for me, it's just like, oh, like I don't want someone to choose or decide how I spend my time in this life. That's one of them, or how I spend my time to see my family. So that kind of is the big factor that pushed me to do what I am doing today because yes, when you're working for yourself, you're working basically from the moment you open your eyes till the moment you close your eyes. I'm sure you
Yeah.
know, right? Yeah, but I think it also comes with a type of flexibility that you can really enjoy life or live life. With your loved ones, spend more time with them, spend time with things that matters to you more than just work. Obviously, work is passion, work is important, but sometimes you gotta look a little bit bigger than work, right? So yeah, and then families times are, grandparents' time are thinning away, so are my parents' time. I don't get to see them that often, so definitely by having my own thing now, own business now, it leads me more opportunity and time to like see them more often, to talk to them, to hang out with them a little bit more throughout the year. Yeah.
Um, which is so beautiful because like
Yeah.
arguably that's what life is about. those meaningful connections with loved ones. Like,
Yeah,
a job, even if you're passionate about it, is not going to be there at the end of the day and like take care of you and love you. And,
a
it's,
hundred percent.
yeah, some of these company policies, especially being in healthcare, it blows my mind that
I
there's
know.
not more compassion.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like,
females, mhm, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, they're expecting us to take care of patients, but then they don't take care of us
I
too.
know. It's a tough balance. I mean, I
Mhm.
feel like everything in life is definitely a balance, which I'm still trying to find that. But sometimes it's like you work so hard. Obviously, you're trying to succeed to a certain goal, but I feel like the goal of life is always you want to spend time with your loved ones, right? So I think that's the bigger picture overall, rather than like some things you're chasing, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree. Like
I
the
know.
personal pursuits are great, but at the end of
Yeah.
the day, like I love my job too, but also I love like
Yeah.
my husband and my
I know.
mom and yeah.
Husband.
Um yeah, thank you. Well, I think it's really awesome because we kind of have like a very similar parallel. You literally left what some people would consider like stability,
Yeah.
predictability, working for like a corporation versus working for yourself. I don't know about you. I know that I had a lot of racing thoughts in the back of my mind before I left healthcare corporate. And I heard a lot of sort of like, why would you do that? Like, you're
All the time.
getting, such a good salary, stability, and etc. A lot of people are not willing to take that leap. And you did it. You
I
freaking did it.
know.
What scared you the most?
I would say definitely the stability piece, right? Because I think when you are an immigrant, I would say, back in the back of your mind, you're always in the survival mode. Even till today, you're always in the survival mode. Coming, moving here since high school, navigating the whole thing, not speaking English, you're always trying to survive. So now, same thing, right? When you leave a job that's paying you money, that has income every single month coming, all of a sudden you're trying to create something of your own. It's like, ooh, I'm not gonna see that paycheck every 2 weeks, right? So the biggest thing is definitely stability. It's a scary thing, I would say. But I feel like because moving here is already a risk since high school, taking that 10K pay cut from first job to second job is already a risk. And there's so much more risk like you took down the line. So I feel like what's what's life without a little extra risk? So, and I remember, right? Like it took me a long time to think, should I do this? Should I not do this? Like all that stuff. And when I was thinking that, I just remember hearing this podcast and that quote like changed. That quote, I think it's the entire reason why I said, okay, I'm gonna put my 2 weeks in, boom, that's it. It's like when you're staying safe, you're being risky. So I'm like, ooh, that changed everything for me. So I literally heard that podcast, went to my boss the next day, be like, this is it. Like, yeah,
The
because it
next day?
yeah, because I was debating back and forth for so long. So I would say the fourth transition is I had my second full-time job. I was in my full-time job from 2023 to actually, yeah, 2023 to 2024, and more than a year and like a couple months. And then around October 2024, I started to feel like, oh, like I'm just not learning. I'm not growing. I'm not seeing my family. I hate my life. Like stuff is just like like I'm just not happy. So I'm just trying to find different company to work for. I'm like, what's out there? How can I make more money in a way? How can I make more money, see my family more, get more PTO, better benefits? But there's never a perfect condition. Never, ever. So whoever out there is trying to look for a perfect condition, I'm still looking for one. So there is none. So I'm
You're
just trying to look
creating
for
one.
exactly. We're trying, right? We're
Yeah.
creating one. Yeah, perfect for me though.
Yeah.
So I was trying so many things, and that was October 2024. Then I found a job. It was like a acupuncture place. So she's great. And then I did some part-time work with her when I still did my full-time work. So I was doing my full-time work. After my full-time, I'll go to her clinic to help her out a little bit just to earn some like extra cash on hand. And then at that moment, it's like, oh, like still not happy with my place. And I even applied to a gym, Lifetime Fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I even worked there for a little bit. So I was doing, my full time and then the other part time and then lifetime. I was basically working like just 7 days a week from October till I would say December. Yeah, for 2 month mark. For the hustler out there, maybe 2 months doesn't seem a lot, but for me, I think it's because I just wasn't happy with all three of the jobs. I was just doing too much. I wasn't resting, but mainly truly comes down to I'm just not happy. So eventually I cut down my full-time to part-time and then pick up more hours with that first part-time job because she was paying more. So I was like, okay, why not? So and then still kept the gym because I'm trying to get to know the people around the area a little bit better. But then I was just juggling too many directions at once. I think burnout is real. And at that moment, I was also planning my wedding.
Oh my God, girl.
I know, I remember vividly. There's one time I was working in my full-time clinic from 7 a.m. to 3, drove down to the other clinic from 4 to 8 p.m. And then I was 8:30, 9, almost 9. I was trying to drive home. And of course, there's traffic. The last thing you want to do is hit traffic when you have a long day. And then my wedding planner is just calling me because we have a destination wedding, so we have a wedding planner. She was like, "We need to hop on a phone call, like, in the next 30 minutes." I just remember like in my car losing it, and I hang up the phone. I was trying to call my like back then fiance, now husband. I was like, why does everyone want to speak with me? I'm done talking. Like I got just had a crash out. I was like, I don't even care if something happened right now. I'm done. Like, I was like, this car needs to move, but that's just your body is like overstimulating.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the next day I was like, oh, I gotta rethink my life. And then that podcast came on. And yeah, then I quit everything. I was like, I'm done. I went to my full-time job, but full-time transition to part-time. And I was like, I'm done here. Can do this no more. Gonna start something up of my own. And then the lifetime, I also quit that thing. So at the beginning of just doing my own thing, I was kind of helping that second part time. I don't know if you're following the acupuncture place a little bit because it's like still a little bit stability, some good money coming, some like cash on hand, whatever. But at a point, I was talking to my friend, it's like if you're always working for somebody, you're never gonna have enough time to work for yourself. Boom, second quote that hit me, I quit everything.
Yeah.
It's just too cool that makes me, quit everything and now just my own thing.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. It's like life really was just like, boom, there's your
Yeah,
sign. Boom,
I
there's your other
know.
sign.
Sometimes all you need is a little quote here and there, and
Yeah.
then yeah, and that's it.
Oh my God, girl, that burnout is so real too.
I
Like
know.
you just I
I'm
know
like,
so
no,
many
I have to.
people can
Yeah.
relate to that.
You too probably working in like, in surgical room, right? OR and stuff.
Yeah, that and then I feel a lot better now, but this year doing my wedding and
Mm.
coming back to the stage after 3 years away, and then
Mm.
my
Wow.
best friend's getting married and I'm one of her bridesmaids. So it's just like,
Back to back to back to back. Yeah. Oh,
yeah, yeah.
I
So, but
know.
it's all good stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
Looking back at it, I think that's the that's the chapter that makes you grow the most, I would say.
for sh-
100%. Yeah.
for
So I'm
sure.
very grateful every single opportunity for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you're so right. It's that's where we grow is during the hard stuff. If you're comfortable, then you're not growing. It's just
Yeah.
complacency. But something that really stood out about your story that I love, and I'm like laughing because I feel like we have so many parallels and I very much so
Yeah.
relate to this. You didn't tell your mom that you started your own business
No, I did
for
not.
like what it was a year.
Yeah, the whole year.
Okay. Can you tell me about that decision? Like, how did she react when
Yeah.
you finally told her? How did you even like bring it up if you were
I
afraid to tell her?
know. I know. I think again, going back to that immigrant mindset, if when your parents done everything for you to make sure, you're living in America comfortably. You can come here and have a future for yourself. The last thing they want to hear is you not being stable. So in the back of my mind, it's like, oh, I don't know how to tell them this because I don't think they will approve. And it's also a little bit like an Asian household thing. Sometimes you're always seeking for approval because your parents are strict. They want you to follow a certain roadmap. So it's like, oh, I don't think they will approve. I don't think they will like this, blah, blah, blah. So within the whole year, I call my mom almost every day when I drive to work. And she's like, oh, like you're going driving to work now. Like at that time I was doing the full-time place transition to part-time and then another part-time. So two part-time, but for someone else. She thought I was doing that, but I was actually doing stuff for myself. So every time I call her, lies after lies after lies.
Oh,
She's like, where are you going with now? Like, which part-time job are you going? I'll tell her either the first one or the second one, but in reality, I was still doing my own thing. So I'm just like, I don't even know how many more lies I can keep telling her. She's like, oh, are you busy at work? I'm like, yeah, like busy, busy, definitely busy. But there's just days like I'm not seeing any patience because you're just starting out, right? I think even my husband at that time, it was 6 months in the business. She was like, "Did you tell your parents you started your own thing?" I was like, "No." She was like, "Are you serious?" He was like, "Why not?" I was like, "I don't know. Like, I don't really know how to bring that up." Like, deep down, it's like you don't want them to be disappointed because there's always a fear of like, oh, what if something happened, right? Like, what if I don't make this? What if X, Y, Z? So that what if sometimes can be really loud, and it's like you don't want to be a disappointment to your family because they tried everything to move you to this country, right? So you want to be successful, and in their mindset or in the cultural mindset, success is like stability. It's not taking risks. Like nobody in our family take risks. And so fast forward 1 year later, I think I was just like driving one day and oh no, actually I was making breakfast. And then I just started laughing. My mom was like, "What are you laughing?" And she was like, "Don't you have work today?" I was like, "No, yeah, about that." You know. I don't really work for people now. Like I started my own thing and it was just silence. I just remember the
oh,
conversation, the silence. She was like, "Huh? What do you mean?" I was like, "Yeah, like I quit a while ago. I still didn't tell her how long ago I quit because I don't want to tell her I've been lying to her for the whole year.
fair.
For me, it's like I want to make sure that I can really do this to present in front of her, I guess. That mindset to
Like
really,
proof.
yeah, to prove that
Yeah.
I done this, I can really do this. So when I told her, and her reaction was obviously way better than I expected. So she didn't really question much. Obviously, you should just make sure, like, as a mom, you're always going to be concerned. Like, are you sure you can do this? Like, why? Obviously, that conversation that I didn't want to have, I'm trying to approve, still did happen. Like, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to leave the stability job? Right? Like, are you sure you can do this? But that was just the beginning. I think later on she kind of see it like, oh, I guess you can really do it. But she can also tell that I was able to come back home a little bit more compared to when I was working for someone else. So I guess that made her a little bit happier. Or even just like when they come visit, I have more time to spend with them throughout the day. Midday, I can have lunch with them. Sometimes I'll take them for a walk compared to when I was just working for someone else. It's like you're locked in the clinic from like I don't know, like 7 to 7 p.m. sometimes. So you don't really have that time. So um, I think as a mom, as long as your kids are happy, you're happy. But yeah, eventually I did break it to her. And every now and then she's always like, "How much are you making?" I'm just like, "Oh, here we go." I'm like, that's the conversation I don't want to have because for me, it's never about like how much I'm making. That doesn't equal success, I feel like. That's the last thing I want to be measured by. That's my salary, how much I'm taking in every single month. So when she asked me that, I'm like, oh, here we go. So you just kind of brush through it and move on to the next topic. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of how I brought it up to her after 1 year.
Yeah. I mean,
Crazy.
there are definitely, I mean, yes, money is great, but there are definitely other ways that you get paid, like
Yeah.
talking to your patients and your clients and like hearing their stories or how they're improving and how
Yeah.
you've made an impact on them too. It's
I
like
know.
that's that's priceless payment, but it like
Yeah.
almost at least for me, maybe for you too, like that fuels me to like
Me
continue to
too.
want to do
Me
like
too.
what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, of course. It's
Yeah.
hard. Obviously, sometimes it's hard because sometimes you're like, oh shit, I'm not gonna I can't pay rent, or like, am I gonna be able to afford my lunch the next day? Stuff like that. There's definitely months when you see it dip down, but my mentors always tell me, right? You don't measure your success based on the outcome of if you did something right in business or not, right? Like what's something that drives you internally, like the stuff that drives me internally, it's like, is my patient successful? So I think that's way more important than seeing certain numbers on the bank account sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to touch on the mentorships that you've done because I
Yeah.
think as an entrepreneur, it's incredibly important to continue to invest in your education, whether it's like PT related or business related. I know you mentioned business school, but I don't know if you like saw that through or anything. No. Okay, so you
No.
basically had to learn business then from
Yeah.
scratch too.
Yes.
Um, but I do want to know before we kind of like leave that PT realm a little bit. I've seen you describe yourself as a performance-based physical
Mm,
therapist. So
yeah.
for everyone that is listening and that might be in the market for a physical therapist, how would you describe like what does that actually mean and how do you help people?
Mm, that was a good question. Yeah, I think again, because me myself, obviously, for as someone who grows up like playing sports back home, who's, active and stuff, I expect certain treatment if I was ever hurt, right? If I ever have injuries. And I remember myself doing PT school, I have a lot of back pain and shoulder pain as well. Shoulder pain definitely from wrong lifting mechanics. Back pain probably from PT school. Just sitting all the time, stress, whatever. And I just remember going to the doctor myself to like, oh, like what's going on? But I was in PT school then, right? And the doctor's answer is just you can get an MRI, you can take meds, and you can just go to PT a couple times a week, and hopefully you get better, right? So me personally, as someone who's active and has an active goal, that's not obviously the answer I personally want to receive. And then as you're working more, as when I was in PT school, I tried to shadow as many places as I could because I just want to see what's really out there. Is it truly like a mill? Like every patient, every provider is seeing multiple patients at once, doing the same exercise at once, only using like banded exercise or just like stuff that doesn't even challenge you? Or is there something more out there? So for me, I was lucky enough to get to see multiple spectrum of things. I definitely see stuff that's more traditional based. It's like, I don't know if you've ever been to the clinic like that before. It's like almost everyone is doing the same thing. So if I was, let's say, 29 compared to next someone sitting next to me, we both have knee pain. Someone sitting next to me might be like 88 years old, but as someone who's active versus as someone who's 88 years old, maybe just a little bit less active, we're doing the same exercise. But the thing is, we don't need the same exercise. I need something more than him. He probably needs something more too. But in a traditional based clinic, it's like you're always getting the same exercise every single person. You're not progressing enough. So for me, I know that's not how I wanted to treat just because people can't get better with that treatment style. So performance based really just means like a very active based rehab approach. You're always trying to find the most challenging thing that you can do well without causing increasing pain. Let's say obviously let's say you're coming with a hip pain, right? The first thing I'm always to say, like I'm always trying to look for what's the hardest thing this person in front of me can do. Is it hard? Yes. Is it painful? No. Perfect. We're gonna start off from there, then we're gonna build up from there. I think when you don't have a performance mindset, you just give them an exercise that's way too low level on day one. They don't even see an improvement, but they just keep doing the same thing till day like 60. And then for me, performance based is also like you're looking at the whole body, right? If someone comes in with tendinopathy, tendon itself is not just a tendon issue sometimes. Sometimes it's how your overall like metabolic rate and stuff. So if someone is already very unhealthy, they have a tendon issue. I'm not just gonna treat your tendon. I have to make you healthier overall. I have to make you do more exercise overall. So I think it's looking at the whole picture and then treat it very movement based rather than just being on the table, treating the symptoms, massaging the pain away. We're trying to treat the root cause. Yeah.
No, I love that. And
Yeah.
that's the whole reason I actually came to you and didn't go to Athletico down the
Oh,
street,
I
like no
know.
offense, Athletico, or anything like that, because it just doesn't make sense to,
Yeah.
like you said, do the same exercises as an 88-year-old
Yeah,
after week after week after week.
I know.
And then don't even get me started on the insurance aspect of
I
it where
know.
we won't even cover it or
I know.
it
But
could,
it's sad sometimes because like general people, a lot of people they don't know, right? Like you don't know what you don't know. And I always feel like if today I'm not in this world, I probably don't know any better as well, right? I probably just still go to the insurance space because I don't know what's out there. So for me, it's like I want to, show people what's really out there. Like you don't have to live certain way.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, which I absolutely love that philosophy. I know that was a big one too. When you mentioned what can you do that's hard but doesn't cause pain. I know
Hmm.
you deal, or I shouldn't even say deal. You work with and you collaborate with a lot of patients and clients that are experiencing some degree of pain or discomfort, whether it's due to, an injury or just like improper mechanics
Hmm.
moving during activities of just daily life. I'm wondering, kind of taking it like a step a little bit deeper, when you're working with these people that are experiencing physical pain or they're recovering from something physically, how often in your practice do you run into them having emotional stress or emotional pain actually contribute to that physical pain?
Hmm. Wow. A lot of them. Especially the one with chronic pain, I would say definitely a lot because let's take spinal pain, for example, like lower back pain, neck pain, especially I find it in a lot of females too, lower back, hip area, SI area. A lot of them, when I'm doing my assessment mechanically, or there's just nothing wrong, nothing wrong with them, right? Like mobility wise, they're great mobility, strength wise, pass every single test I could think of, but they just have so much pain. And obviously, you try to listen to the full story to see what's really going on. I always say pain is not truly coming just from physical, right? How you sleep can affect how you feel, right? If you don't sleep enough, you're just more sensitive to feel that pain. How you eat, are you drinking alcohol or not, or just like all those like emotional, burden that can all contribute to physical symptoms. And that's why I think it's so important to have a long session on day one to get the full history because I think without a full history, you don't really know who the person is behind the pain. And like I think I have multiple episode of like the person in front of me break down just from the first session. And once they break down, we kind of go through everything. We didn't even do any exercise, but they feel better, right? For me, it's just, okay, this person in front of me just needs someone to listen to them because probably no one have ever listened to them. No one have ever validated their pain before. Probably everyone called them crazy. But sometimes that's all they need, just someone listening to them. So I think it's huge. I would say psychosocial factor definitely influence physical pain a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And that was something I'm just going to say this and do like a little plug here. But
Yeah.
that was something I really enjoyed working with you about is how thorough you were. I did not break down during during our session, but just really validating that you do spend a lot of time with the people that you work with and the plan that you lay out for them, or at least like speaking from my experience, was constantly evolving. And I was so impressed with that
Oh,
because,
thank you though.
yeah, I mean, just having like a client that does have that emotional pain and you do break that wall down just by listening to them,
Yeah.
arguably they're probably going to have more progression as you guys work through the physical therapy
Yeah.
just by getting that barrier down alone.
Yeah,
So,
100%. Because I feel like if you go to your general doctor, you never spend an hour with them. I think nobody
Mhm.
really listens to you in healthcare. So I have so many times where we don't even do any exercise. We just talk. But sometimes that's really what the patient needs, someone to listen to them. They just need a place to vent and, they come back the next day, they feel better and stuff like that. So I think listening is way more important than anything else. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. There's so much power in connection with helping
Yeah.
people get stronger, whether it's traditional coaching or physical therapy, there
Yeah.
I think has to be that social connection
Hmm.
for a patient or client to do well. So,
100%.
well, before I forget, I do want to go back to the mentorship thing.
Yeah.
And can you just talk a little bit about what inspired you to seek out the mentors that you've worked with so far?
Yeah. So I think in PT school, like this is a little bit back in the days. Back in the days, in PT school, obviously you go through four, in my school at least, we go through four different clinical rotation. My third one, actually, let's backtrack even a little bit more. My first one was horrific.
Oh.
It was horrific. I didn't had a great experience. Again, looking back at it now, I'm very appreciative of that experience. But my first one is just, oh, this is just not the environment I can thrive in. Didn't learn much. By my third one, I end up having a great clinical instructor. So at that moment, for me, comparing my first one and the third one, it made me realize how impactful a mentor can be for you. Having the right mentor in your life truly change a lot of things for you. So that's the moment where I realized, okay, one day I want to be a mentor for someone too. I want to have my own students. But for me, seeking out mentors, it doesn't stop here if I want to take my career to a different level. So my third clinical instructor, well, shout out to Seth if you're listening to this. So he actually guide me in different courses to take when I was with him as a student. So I obviously listened to him, followed his footpath a little bit. Then I took all the courses he recommended. Then when I take all the courses, obviously when you take a course, you're trying to practice the course because if you gain the knowledge, you don't use it, you lose it, right? So the best thing to do is just keep practicing. I realized all the courses I take, I cannot practice in the traditional base environment because I can't spend the time with my patient. I can't see what's going on in front of me because all the PT8 do all the exercise. So I was like, oh, I'm just wasting my skills now. Because I don't want to lose my skills. That's why I find a place where I can practice all my skills. So, now I took a whole bunch of courses since PT school, after PT school, it was thousands of dollars. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of investment, but I would say I never once regret any investment in the courses or just in business mentorship too, like clinical mentorship and business mentorship. I don't regret any of them. I truly think like those investments are the reason why I'm here today. Because it's scary at the moment, but again, it's all about taking risk, right? And I'm consider myself young. I don't have a family. I don't have kids. Like money will come back eventually. But the scariest thing is if you stay stuck. So I think, yeah, like those are all the courses I took from the past, learned from all the mentors. And I continue to seek out more mentors when I can because it's like you always want to learn from people who has done this before. You want to learn from people who's smarter than you in order to go far. I don't know if
Yeah.
that answers your question though.
No, no, it definitely does.
But
Yeah, definitely. I'm
went
like,
off track a little.
no, it's beautiful. I love it. All tangents are relevant tangents on unfiltered and functional. Um,
Yeah.
I am also like a huge believer that if you want to be better and if you want to evolve yourself or evolve your business, you have to put yourself in rooms with people that know more than you, that are more successful than you, that are maybe some of them are willing to teach you, maybe some of them aren't. But even if you get in that room and I'm not saying don't network, but like close your mouth and open your ears and
Yeah.
just kind of like learn by observing, there's so much that can be taken away from it.
Yeah. I always feel like, how people say like you are the person when you're like you're the closest. What's that? Sorry, what's that analogy? Like the
Uh,
5%?
You're
You're
the average of
of
the
the
five
five
people
people
closest
you
to
serve.
you.
Yes. So, that obviously stick with me the most, right? So,
Mhm.
you spend so much time at work. At work, that's the people you're closest to. You spend more time with your coworker than your friends, right? I spend more time with my coworker when I used to have one. Now I don't have coworkers no more than my husband and stuff. So, sometimes you realize, okay, I have outgrown in this room. And
Mhm.
a lot of time people will realize they've outgrown the room, but they stay in the room because they're comfortable. But you're cutting yourself short in life if you keep staying in that room. You're not growing, right? Truly, if you want to go far, you have to find a room that you can learn from. And it's okay to be the dumbest one in the room. I think it's actually a great thing to be the dumbest one in the room. And I love that because there's so many smarter people that I can learn from. Um, yeah, you're always trying to find people who can expand in your life and not shrinking it. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Hugely agree. I'm a
Yeah.
big advocate of always like doing your research when you find other people that interest you or that you might want to work with or that you might want to learn from. Because the way I think about it is anytime that I personally struggled in business, because I'm totally self-taught and I'm still learning,
Me and
but
you both.
that life is a school. So
Yeah.
we just figure it out as we go. But anytime I felt stuck, or in that scarcity mindset, like you brought up too, because my mom was also like security, security,
I
financial
know.
security. That's the time when I'd be like, what doesn't feel good? Well, it doesn't feel good feeling scarce and it doesn't feel good feeling stuck. And
Hmm.
the thing that scares me the most right now is not having money. So that's the thing I need to do is spend money and
I know.
invest on myself.
Yes.
And it's worked every single time.
I
Every
know.
single
Yeah,
time.
I know for sure. I think when you leave with good intention, I always tell people this, I think good things will follow. At least that's how I approach life.
For
Yeah,
sure. Energy is so real. If you
I
have good
know.
energy, good
Yeah.
energy comes to you. I do want to touch really quick if you're okay with talking about it, because you
Yeah.
mentioned that at this present time you don't have a family.
Hmm.
Is that something that you are eventually interested in having? Because you are like, girl, you are such a hustler. Like, I see your grind on social media. I'm like, oh my God, I need to
Yeah.
step up my business game.
I know, I know. No, for sure. It definitely is a big one. I think one of the main reason I started this whole thing is truly like obviously for my current family, but eventually future family, because if I don't even have time to go back home and stuff, I don't want my life to be decided by someone like, oh, you cannot take off to go to your kid's soccer game. You can take a day off. You have to miss your kids XYZ. Like that's never the thing I want. I want to be able to make my own time to see my family, hang out with my kids, spend time with my husband in the future and stuff. So yes, that's definitely on the list. And I think that's why everything I do now, like for me, sometimes I rush through the process. Like I want to be able to see success a little bit faster just because I feel like one day I want kids, right? What if my life is on hold when this kid is in front of me? That's my biggest fear, I would say, feeling like my life will be on hold. And I know it's probably not going to happen for those who have kids out there. Obviously, everyone say, no, it's not. Like it's a motivation to work harder, X, Y, Z. But again, coming from someone who doesn't have a family yet, who doesn't have kids yet, that's my biggest fear. Because for me, if my life is on hold, the fear of me is always like, oh my God, like my parents won't be able to see my success even more because I'm trying to speed up this process. So they internally, sometimes I'm trying to get their approval too, right? So what if my dad's time is thinning, right? Like stuff like that in the back of my mind is always like, okay, do I want a family now? But if I have a family now, what if it slows down the success? So it slows down, I can really see my family. But that's negative self-talk. So I think life will always happen the way when it's supposed to happen. So yes, obviously we're planning to have kids like later on soon. And I think everything will happen at the right time. So
Yeah.
yeah, and when we have kids, I'm sure I'll figure out the next step. Maybe hiring XYZ and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think like one last thing is like when you have kids, your main focus in life, I'm pretty sure it will switch. It probably, yes, I'm still going to be focusing on business, but again, the end goal of life is always to make sure you have a nice family, so that's probably my next focus in life too. And I think everyone goes through a different season of life. So it's okay to be hustling at certain season, and it's okay to shift focus at a different season as long as you know the purpose of that season. So,
Mhm. Yeah,
hmm
that's beautiful.
yeah,
If you don't mind me digging a little bit,
yeah.
because this is something that I've spent a lot of time thinking about, especially like as my mom's getting older, as I'm getting older, having like a lot of realizations kind of like about the dynamic or how I was raised. Because I consider, my mom was always like, that's my bestie. We're
Mm,
always very close. And now I look back and, I realize some of the things that how she raised me, I don't necessarily agree with now, but I
mm,
do recognize she was doing the best that she could with what she had at that time. And you've
yeah.
mentioned a few times like that pressure of, having the proof of success to show your parents. Have you ever stopped and considered on how that impacts you, how that might impact you as a mother and how you choose to raise your kids?
Oh, 100%. I think at least I know growing up, it's again, I can speak for all Asian household, but I know my family is very conservative and is very protective, and I would say overprotective, right? So I just always remembering like especially my dad is like, don't do this, don't do that, XYZ. You don't want to do this because blah blah blah. You don't want to do this because you're gonna get hurt. But for me, it's like I haven't even explored yet. You're really putting a hard stop on me just exploring. And I think as a kid, you need to explore. So, and as an adult too, sometimes you gotta fuck around and find out. So, right?
That's the
So,
motto to live by, girl.
yeah, so I think when I have a kid too, if I say don't touch the fire, you can touch the fire. You're gonna find out what's going on because you gotta, yeah, now you will learn, right? I mean, obviously, there's certain things you're trying to talk to them, you want to reason, you want to be like reasonable with them, right? So I think as a growing up as a kid, it's like my parents never ask enough to even like explore what I'm thinking. They don't even really I wouldn't use the word care, but I think in them it was just always a hard stop. They don't want to know why I want to do XYZ certain things. I don't really have a lot of like critical thinking skills, I would say, growing up. But I think going forward for like obviously future family, it's like you want to be able to reason with them, right? If they want to do certain things. As an adult, for me, it's like, I don't think that's the right thing. So for me, I would want to ask them, why do you want to do that thing? So what if this happened? What if that happened? Like walk me through a thought process. Do you think that's correct? If you think that's the right step, go ahead and find out. If not, then might maybe find a different direction. I think that's the biggest thing. Obviously, I want to explore going forward, having my own kid and my own family. Definitely let them explore more a little bit in this life.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Charlotte. I think you're like healing something in me just listening to you
Oh,
gentle parent your future child.
oh, I love kids though. So for me, that's like my biggest soft spot. So
Oh, you're
yeah.
gonna be a wonderful mom someday.
I hope. I was like, my husband always, I mean, he just got home, so he's listening for sure. But he always joke around like, if you don't have your sleep, you're gonna be cranky. Maybe, I don't know, but we'll figure it out. We'll see.
Fuck
Yeah,
around and find out.
I know exactly. Basically.
Find out how much coffee we can survive off of with minimal
Yeah,
sleep.
I was like, the
Well,
kid's not gonna piss me off. You're gonna piss me off.
and I mean, like they grow up so fast and time goes by so fast. So I think, I mean, obviously I'm not a parent either, but just I have so many nieces and nephews and just really like enjoying when they're young and like when they say things or even when they like get under your skin and just realizing like someday I'm gonna look back at this and it's gonna be hilarious and I'm gonna be like, why
Yeah,
was that so frustrating? And it's all
yeah,
gonna work out.
I
But
know.
um, we've had quite a bit of time here together and I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. And I just want to ask you one more question before I
Yeah.
release you to your evening.
Oh, what time? I don't even know what time is it now. Oh, wow. We talked for that long.
Girl, time flies when you're having fun.
I know, literally. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Yes.
So you obviously have a healthcare background. You are a trailblazer. You've made your own business. You've even worked in acupuncture, which is pretty kick-ass too. Um, Arguably, you've got a pretty well-rounded experience in health after doing all your shadowings and different mentorships too. So, out of everything out there in the health world, what is one health hill that you will die on?
One health hill you would die, I would die on. I would say because obviously background is physical therapist. I would say not all pain equals harm if that's something I can guide people in the process a little better because I think truly when people freaks out when they have pain. Once they freak out, they stop moving. Their body is stiff. They guard more. The moment you stop moving, right, things just kind of deteriorate a little bit faster, especially as we age. We're always fighting an uphill battle. So I think if we understand that not all pain equals harm, sometimes pain is just a guidance in life, we probably won't have so many chronic disease, and we probably won't go through so many surgeries, injection, like all those things could really be avoided. So
Ooh, I
yeah.
love that. That's kind of deep on a couple levels, not just like the physical pain, but like
I know.
emotional pain. You can't close off your heart. You got to open that up, work through it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I love that so much. Charlotte, thank you so much for your time.
So
This
much
has been
fun.
so fun. Can you please share with everyone where they can find you on social media or if they want to work with you? What is the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, the best way, I would say my Instagram. I'm pretty active there. Obviously, when you have your own business, you wear multiple hats. So, my Instagram handle, I was Dr. Dr. Charlotte Huang DPT, last name Huang. Shoot me a DM, and that's how Mandy found me, I guess.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's true.
And I'll,
And for everyone to make it easier, I'll also put that in the description box below so you guys can just go ahead and like copy paste or just go ahead and click right on it and find her, start the conversation, see
yeah.
how she can help you with any physical pain or maybe emotional pain feeding into the
Emotional pain
physical
too.
pain.
If you just want to hear, have a listen. Yeah.
And everyone listening, if you'd be such a gem, give us a thumbs up on YouTube, rate us 5 stars on Spotify, and comment below if you have any questions for Charlotte that we can forward to her. And we'll see you guys on the next one every Monday.